Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Anchin and I'm here at Books Are Magic for Virtual Story Hour. I am the author and illustrator of this book, The Paper Bird. That means I wrote the words and I drew all of the pictures. I thought I would read the book to you today and then we could do a little bit of drawing together. If that sounds good, grab a seat and let's get started.
The Paper Bird by Lisa Anchin. There once was a time when all of the colors, from midsummer blue to sunrise orange, lived at the tips of Annie's fingers. They came whenever she called and arrived in brilliant flashes of joy, singing and dancing across the page. Then, on a Wednesday like any other, something changed. For the first time, Annie heard the low giggles and saw the sneaky looks. The colors seemed to sing more quietly, and without their bright voices, gray doubt slowly crept in. As the gray clouded in overhead, Annie noticed that the bird she was drawing looked more like a flying hippopotamus. She tried to banish it with her eraser, but it only made things worse. Annie pulled out a new sheet of paper, but the white page seemed impossible. The more Annie tried to draw, the grayer she felt. The gray feeling lingered longer and longer, and soon it spilled out everywhere. By the end of the day, Annie felt gray all over. Instead of heading home with her classmates, Annie snuck outside to the schoolyard and let the quiet of the empty playground settle around her. The quiet made Annie feel a little less gray, so she pulled a blank page from her backpack. She tried to draw the bird once more, but even here the lines still wouldn't come out right. Annie tried again and again and again, but it seemed the gray had followed her. Suddenly, with a crinkle and a whistle, her turquoise bird peeled itself from the paper. Annie looked at it in dismay. The bird was lopsided, with one wing longer than the other. She leaped up to catch it before anyone caught sight of her mistakes. Annie jumped and grabbed for the paper bird, but as it flew upward, she paused. All she could see from her place on the ground was a glorious trail of turquoise, swooping and loop-de-looping above her. The bird opened its beak and chirped a merry tune. The bright, cheery notes filled her with hope. Annie couldn't help herself. She decided to try a little yellow. And red, and violet, and orange. Every so often Annie looked around, and when she was certain no one was watching, she painted more birds. Slowly the sky filled with bird song and the rustle of painted wings. Annie was so entranced by the sunny voices and swooping colors, she didn't notice what was happening to her discarded pages. She looked up to find that the schoolyard had disappeared in a forest of white. The trees shushed and rustled. They crackled and snapped. They were all made of paper. The bright bare paper trees called to Annie. She had never seen anything as beautiful and filled with possibility. Annie's eyes sparkled. The woods were hers, and only hers. She reached again toward the bright paper trunks, the colors crackling at her fingers. Annie whooped and hollered, and she painted the paper woods. There was no one watching, and it wouldn't have mattered if there were. Annie had found her colors. At last, she felt like herself again. The next day, when Annie stepped through the school gate, the paper woods were already gone. But Annie had brought her colors with her, and back at school, they slowly began to spread. There once was a time when Annie knew only gray. Lately, though, she strode with purple confidence, sang with orange glee, and danced a golden streak of joy. And she lived all the colors in between.
And that was The Paper Bird. Thank you so much for reading with me. Now let's do some drawing together. I'm going to show you how to draw Annie's bird and the paper bird, and I'm going to be using mostly colored pencils. I'm also going to show you how you can make the paper bird with collage. So you might want to pause the video here and grab whatever you like to draw with best, maybe colored pencils, maybe markers or crayons. If you want to do a little bit of collage, grab some extra paper and a scissors and maybe a grown-up to help you with that scissors. And we'll meet right back here at my desk. See you soon.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my desk. I thought that now we could do some drawing together.
In the paper bird, Annie draws a bunch of different birds. The first bird that she draws is this turquoise one. And she draws a yellow and orange one is the second one. And then she adds all kinds of feathered friends into the sky to cheer her up. And I thought that I would show you how you can draw your own bird at home. We'll start with this bird. But all of Annie's birds are drawn using really simple shapes. So I'm going to show you how. Let's move these guys out of the way. We'll put this one up here so you can still see it. So what I did was I actually drew a bunch of shapes on a piece of paper and then cut them out. I drew them with black marker, just like this. You can draw them yourself. And you can do what's called collaging them together. You can either put them together. Collaging is when we take lots of different pieces of paper or even 3D objects and put them together to make art. And so you can collage your bird together using these shapes: a circle for the head, an oval for the body, these kind of half circles, little half circle shapes for wings. And Annie's bird has one wing longer than the other, so I made one wing longer than the other. And the bird's wings have all of these they're like a long oval shapes that are cut in half. They almost look like little fingers. I can put some of these together to make the feathers on the wings, and there are 4 on each. So just by taking all of these little shapes and putting them together, you can draw a bird, which I think is pretty cool. Everything is made up of shapes, even things that look really hard, like a person or a bird. And then for the tail feathers are a lot like these long kind of half oval shapes, but instead of stopping here, I draw them stopping halfway to make them look like a big feathery tail. And I'm going to just tuck this second one right under here. Let's give Annie's bird a couple of triangles for a beak. So if you like, you can make Annie's bird like this by cutting out a bunch of these simple shapes at home and putting them together and gluing them down, and then you can draw and color them and add details with markers or colored pencil or crayon, whatever kind of things you like to draw with. But I'm going to show you how to draw it just with a pencil. So all of the birds, let's put all of our shapes back up here, move them out of the way. All of the birds in the book are drawn with colored pencil, and I'm going to show you the pencils that I use. These are the exact pencils that I used for the whole book. I used the black pencil for the outline of the birds, and then purple, turquoise, yellow, orange, and red. These 5 colors make up kind of all of Annie's magical creative colors in the book. So I'm going to put them over to the side, and let's start drawing our bird. So I always start Annie's bird with a big circle for the head. So go ahead and draw your circle. And I'm going to go over it a couple of times. Whoops, let's blow off some of the dust. Big circle for a head. Your circle doesn't have to be perfectly circular. It can be lopsided or lumpy. And just like Annie, our drawings are beautiful just the way they are, whether they look like a perfect circle or a lumpy circle, or maybe like a potato-y circle. And then I'm going to start with an oval for the body. But instead of drawing a full oval through the head, I don't want that line to show. So I'm going to start my oval right here. It is kind of potato-y, this body, the bird's body. So draw your little potato oval. And the next part of the bird that I'm going to draw those beautiful tail feathers. So right here. So again, these are just kind of like that same shape right here, the same kind of long oval shape, but cut halfway. So I'm going to start at the body, and I'm going to start to draw my half oval, but I'm not going to go all the way. I'm going to stop halfway so I can get some nice loop-de-loops over here to make the feathers of the bird's tail feather. And there are 5 feathers in the bird's tail feather in Annie's bird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can draw as many feathers as you like on your bird. And then I'm going to do the back of the tail feathers, and there are 7 feathers on this one. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to swoop my line all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make a nice big swoopy line. And now let's give this bird some wings so it can fly. Now Annie's bird, remember, has one wing longer than the other, so I'm going to do that here. If you want to give your bird even wings, you can do that. I'm going to give it a semicircle, kind of a half circle shape. I'm going to put my long wing on the top. And I'm going to do my short little wing on the bottom. And let's put those nice long oval, half oval shapes over here for the feathers. There's 4 on each wing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to do 4 on the bottom wing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last shapes we need are the triangles that make up the bird's beak. You could draw a single triangle and give the bird kind of a closed beak. I often like to draw Annie's bird singing because it's singing its cheerful little tune. So I like to leave it open. So I'm going to draw 2 triangles. 1 triangle here and 1 for the bottom beak. And those are the basic shapes that make up Annie's bird. The last thing I start to do is I add details. So you can add details like the eye. If you want your bird to look like it's awake or just looking forward, you can just draw a little dot or a circle for the eye. On Annie's bird, I like to show that it's smiling. So I draw a little rainbow shape or kind of an upside down U for that eye. You can also add little feathers on the bird's chest, so little U shapes, little U's to show the feathers, or make maybe W's. You could do little W shapes for the feathers on the bird's chest. And then a couple of little legs, so hanging down. And I give it some toes, so just some lines. Overlap them like that. And then the last step, I forgot the circles that are in the wing. So let's add some feathers to the wing. On Annie's bird, those look like ovals, just like this. So that's how Annie draws the feathers on this bird's wing. Lots of little circles and oval shapes in here to fill up the space. And then there's the 2 lines. Each feather has 2 lines on it. And then I'm going to get my turquoise pencil. We'll add some color to this bird. There. So my turquoise pencil, I'm going to color in all of the little feather tips on the wings. And then the only other part of Annie's bird that has color is this nice long fluffy tail. So all these tail feathers. Now my black pencil smears a little bit, so I try not to draw right over top of it. And you can color your bird in with whatever you have at home. It could be colored pencils like I'm using. It could be crayons, could be markers. Maybe you have some watercolor. All of the color for Annie's birds and Annie's creative colors are colored pencil, but I used paint to draw to make the art for the rest of the book. Annie and her friends and all of the backgrounds are painted with a paint called acrylic gouache. That's the paint I use for most of my artwork. And part of Annie's book is also collaged. All of the trees and the paper woods are made up of cut paper, pieces of graph paper and lined paper like the kind you might use at school. So here's Annie's bird. And the last thing I like to do when I draw Annie's bird is I like to add music notes, which are kind of little dots with lines attached. The music notes become kind of a symbol that the bird is singing. And you can make all different kinds of music notes. You can make big long ones, 16th notes, or single notes, or 2 stuck together. And that is how I draw Annie's bird. And the nice thing about all of these little birds is that they're all just really simple shapes. Circles and long ovals and half circles and triangles for the beak. And if you wanted to try to draw the yellow bird at home, you would just use different shapes. You'd start with the same circle and oval for the head and the body. You could give this bird big triangle for a beak. But instead of these kind of half circle shapes that we used for Annie's bird, the wings on this bird are kind of like shark fin shapes. So you add them like that. And the tail feathers, maybe you'd layer some of those kind of oval shapes, these long half oval shapes. Oop, my bird's coming apart. Just like that. Sometimes it's fun to cut all your shapes out of colored paper and you can layer them together and then add all of the details. Like for this yellow bird, I would also add, these look like little U shapes in the wings. So if I was going to do that, I might add, let's get my pencil, I might add some over here like that, little U's on the edge of the wing. And I'd add some on the inside. Maybe I'd even add more feathers down here. But you can draw all kinds of things just using circles and triangles and ovals. Everything is made up of lots and lots of simple shapes. And I hope that you've enjoyed drawing with me today. And if you want to tag me in some of your drawings online, I'd love to see them. And I hope you enjoyed Annie's story, and happy drawing and happy reading. Goodbye, everyone.